I'm going to start my presentation now. All right. To begin, what comes to mind when you hear the word mech? What do you think about when you do? For some, it's massive robots with the power to raise cities to the ground. For others, it's the simple construction robot that's just used to move boxes around. In actuality, those are both technically correct. Mecha, or mechs, come in all shapes and sizes and even include subgenres of those same shapes and sizes. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify what type of mech it is and it's even a mech at all. Now to start, what is a mech? Well, the term mecha is actually a Japanese term and it refers to both scientific ideas and science fiction genres that centers on robots or machines controlled by people. Mechas are usually depicted as walker types of robots. So robots with legs and that can walk around bipedally. And that's what separates them from vehicles as well, and tanks and most other military machinery, is they usually are bipedal and they can transform or anything like that. Now, what isn't classified as a mecha? Well, Iron Man is not classified as a mecha. That's actually power armor. Him and that blue guy over there are classified as power armor, and they're usually just used to power up a singular user rather than having the user pilot it. And power armor usually is way smaller, and it can't be used to, and it doesn't have like as much weaponry as a mecha does. Mecha also doesn't encapsulate robots that are, how should I say this? Control themselves, that are basically just machines. So things like the Iron Giant aren't actually applied here. Now, mecha actually came from actually started in the 1950s with these two series right here. Osamu Tezuka's Mighty Atom, introduced in 1952, and Mitsutaro Yokoyama's Tetsuzen 28 Go. Both series are more widely known by their English titles, Astro Boy and Gigantor. Both these series laid the foundation for mecha series to come, such as the idea of a robot being used by children or being used as a tool against something else or for something else. While they didn't necessarily start the concept of a piloted mecha, these two series are still incredibly important for the genre as a whole. These three are the foundational series of piloted mecha. The first series that actually started off piloted mecha is Mazinger Z, which introduced the entire concept of a robot being piloted by a person. The second series was Getter Robo, which inspired the combination factor that allowed robots to combine into different forms. And the third series is Gundam, which actually inspired the warlike setting. Mazinger Z had started 1972, Getter Robo had started 1974, and Gundam started in 1975, respectively. Now, there are actually different types of mecha. The first type that actually came first was super robots. And super robots are usually described as robots that have special abilities, and they are creations of eccentric mad scientists who work alone in their secluded laboratories. No one knows where they get the parts of the equipment, but they usually draft a child or a high schooler or somebody unassuming to pilot these machines, and then you have to fight alien forces that come from above the cosmos. And and actually, if you didn't know, Transformers actually qualifies as a super robot series. Now, there's also real robots, which are more realistic, as the name implies. These robots are mostly just are treated like any other weapon of war. And these are in direct contrast, super robots, where super robots usually are special and can only be used by one person. They're obscenely powerful. Real robots are usually just another tool, like a tank, that can be used by anybody, and they're mass produced. And occasionally they may have a custom version used by extremely 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 talented pilots, but usually they're just used by mass reduced soldiers and infantry. And also, real robots also encapsulates robots used for menial labor and more human-like jobs like police officers and construction workers. In another note about super and real robots, they usually have differences in proportion. Super robots usually have larger man-like bodies and are usually exaggerated and with insane armaments like rock propelled fists and I-beams and things like that, while real robots use more militaristic weaponry like ballistic automated guns and like tank shells and things like that. In conclusion, the it's good to always know the difference between these two, because you may see something and you might not know exactly where it came from or what type it is, but with what I just told you, you should be able to differentiate between the two and be able to see how exactly each one goes into which category. Thank you.